Hey everyone, we will get started here in just a few. Gonna probably go a minute or two after 1 p.m. just to let a couple more people filter in, and then we will get started. So hang tight. There we go. I've been having problems with the mic not activating properly. Welcome, everybody. My name is Matt over at SFRAP. I'm glad you could join us today. We are going to be talking about Appraise-It Pro. Now, this webinar is going to be mostly geared towards those of you who are coming over from ACI. However, if there are some of you who are moving over from Appraise-It Classic, which is our old software, welcome. You will get a lot out of this as well. But this is mainly going to be geared to those of you who are moving up from ACI. We know that this is a huge deal. It's a big problem. First of all, I just want to say I'm sorry. Not that, I'm at fault or anything, but I'm just sorry that you guys have had to go through this because I know it is a big pain in the butt for you guys to have to, at the holiday season, just up and move software and learn something new. Hopefully we are going to be making this as painless as possible for you, and we will try to negate the learning curve as much as we can. And one of the ways we're going to do that is with these webinars. Now we have one right now that we're doing at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We also have another one at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to join us again for that one, feel free. There's an unlimited number of participants that can come in here. That's why we use YouTube. Also, if you want, you can scrub back and start at the beginning of this video. If you come in late, or if you want to watch it again, just use the same link. You'll be able to watch this video. It's automatically going to be archived on YouTube. Now, for those of you who have never done a live webinar on YouTube, a couple things. First of all, down at the very bottom, there's going to be a little toolbar and at the bottom of the video. And if you click on the one that looks like an elongated rectangle, that will make the video go into theater mode. and it'll make the video bigger so it's easier to see, and then it will move the chat from the right-hand side down to the bottom. There's also going to be what looks like some broken brackets. If you click on that, everything will go full screen. However, you will lose the chat, and we want you to be able to chat, and I want to hear from you guys. If you have any questions, use that chat. However, I know that some of you are shy, so if you are either watching this video after the fact or if you're a little bit shy, you can always just email me directly, training@sfrep.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Now, keep in mind that if you need immediate assistance, you'll want to contact our tech support. Their email address is tech@sfrep.com, and of course, you can call them at 800-644-4051. I know that there is a separate, different number for sales. They both go to the same place. So if you just want to write one of the numbers down and always keep it handy, 800-644-4051 is that telephone number. All right. Now, we already have somebody who's using the chat, and that's Donald. And I saw your message a little bit before we began, Donald, but I wanted to answer it on screen or on video. It says, can the SFRP software convert to an ACI Fannie Mae 2090 co-op form and convert it into, or convert onto an SFRP 2090? So can we convert the ACI 2090 Fannie Mae form? Yes. As long as you have the MISMO XML version of it. Now, unfortunately, we can't do a mass convert or open up ACI files because they are encrypted. All the software companies encrypt stuff, and because of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 1996, we can't go in and break encryption to get that stuff out legally. It's the reason why you can't duplicate your Blu-ray discs and put them on a server legally. I mean, I know a lot of people do, but you're legally not supposed to do that. And that is because of the DMCA. So we can't do that. But if you've been archiving your MISMO XML files, our tech support, and they can log into your computer and help you in moving all of those over from where they're stored in ACI and bring them over into Appraise-It Pro. Appraise-It Pro will then hoover out all the data about it and put it into our comp database and our report database. And you'll be able to open up the MISMO XML files just as if they were native Appraise-It Pro files. Okay? Hopefully that makes a lot of sense. And if you haven't been archiving your XMLs, check with our tech support anyway. They may be able to find them. They may be being archived locally without you even knowing. So we may be able to grab that information for you anyway. I will caution you, because we are so inundated with people right now. Tech support's a little bit overloaded. They're taking a while to get back to people. Just please be patient with us. We're trying the best we can. We weren't expecting this, just like you weren't. So we're trying to get to people as quickly as possible. Usually on a regular, normal day, you can call our tech support and you'll go right through and get somebody, or at the very least, they'll call you back in like 5 minutes. Now callbacks, we don't do queues, so you'll leave a voicemail. I mean, they're doing 30 minutes, hour, maybe 2 hours. So just be patient. We're trying. You can also, if you just have general questions that don't require someone to log into your computer and do something, you're welcome to contact me. Just training@sfrep.com, matt@sfrep.com. I'll be happy to help you out, okay? So the first thing we're going to go over is, and this is going to be a mixture of live training and some pre-recorded stuff. And I like to sprinkle in the pre-recorded stuff because it's much more succinct. Be prepared to take some notes, but remember, you can always just go back and watch this again. And all the pre-recorded content I'm going to give you is available on our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/SFREP. Real simple. youtube.com/SFREP. And you can always use the link that was emailed to you for this video to rewatch it. Okay. So the first thing we want to go over is installing and registering the software. Now, some of you have already done this, but for those of you who haven't, this will kind of give you the rundown on how that works. And we will take questions. Remember, feel free, use that chat, ask any questions you might have. I'll pick them up on the back side of the video. Okay. Installing Appraise-It Pro is pretty simple and easy, and it can coexist on your computer side by side with Appraise-It Classic. This will allow you to transition over at your own pace. First, visit the Downloads page on the SFREP website at sfrep.com and download the Appraise-It Pro installer to your desktop or to a location that you're familiar with and can easily find. Once you've downloaded the Appraise-It Pro installer, find it, and double-click to begin the install process. Now follow the prompts in the installer. Once it's complete, find the Appraise-It Pro icon on your desktop and double-click it. When Appraise-It Pro runs for the first time, it'll automatically convert your databases, settings, user profiles, and responses. This can take from a few seconds to several minutes. It really depends on how much data there is to be converted and how fast your computer is. Once Appraise-It Pro launches, you'll be prompted to register. Now there's a few ways to do this and we'll go over each one. If you already have an Appraise-It account because an SFREP rep has created one for you, you've previously used Appraise-It Pro, or because you've been using the Inspect a Lot mobile app, click the Register button and enter your email address and password. Next, select your company from the list. In most cases, there will only be one listed, and then click Next. Appraise-It Pro will now be registered. Click Close. If you're coming from Appraise-It Classic and know your older style customer ID number and password, click the Upgrade Account button. This will create an Appraise-It account that you'll use for various things, including registration from now on. You'll be prompted for your customer ID and password. Note that this may already be filled in for you if you're installing on a computer with Appraise-It Classic already on it. When you're done, click Next. Now, select the name of the person who will be using this computer from the list and then click Next. This will usually be you unless you're setting up a computer for someone else. If you're a one-person shop, only your name will be listed. Now we need to collect a few more bits of information for your account. Enter your main business email address and choose a password. You will also need to set up a challenge phrase and response to use if you forget your password. Use the pull-down to select a question, then enter the response to the question below. When done, click Next. You'll receive a confirmation that your account was created. Click Next. The license will now be downloaded, and now you're finished. Just click Close. If you're new to SFREP and wish to try out Appraise-It Pro fully functional and free for 30 days, click the Request Demo button. Next, fill out the form with all of your information. Don't worry, this information is to create an account in our system and is for internal use only. We won't give or sell it to anyone else. When done, click Next. Now, enter your email address and create a strong password. You'll also need to select a challenge question and answer it in case you ever forget your password and need to reset it. Click Next. Now, enter your full name exactly as you wish it to appear when signing an appraisal report. Then, click Next. You can now use Appraise-It Pro in a fully functional demo mode for 30 days. A fourth option is to not register Appraise-It Pro and instead use it in report viewer mode. This is mostly for banks, AMCs, and other entities that need to be able to view and print Appraise-It Classic, Appraise-It Pro, and all MISMO XML files and don't require editing capabilities. This mode is completely free and it can be used by anybody. Once registered, you'll need to set up your user profile so you can sign reports. To do this, go to the Home menu. Next, click User Profiles. Select your user from the box on the left, and then fill out the information under the Contact and License tabs. This information may have already been imported from Appraise-It Classic, so you may not need to enter anything here. If so, just verify the information is up to date and accurate. If you wish to add an additional user or if no user is present in the list, click New and fill out the tabs. Then click Save As. Once this is done, you can set up a signature under the Signature tab. In most cases, your signature will have been moved over from Appraise-It Classic, but if not, or if you're a new customer, you can check out our separate video on setting up a signature in Appraise-It Pro that's linked below. If you have any questions, send us an email at training@sfrep.com, and if you need assistance installing or registering Appraise-It Pro, contact our technical support 7 days a week at 800-644-4051. Thanks for watching, and as always, Thanks for being an SFREP customer. Now, there is going to be a slight difference in what you were just seeing with what you guys who are coming over from ACI are going to be doing. And what you guys are going to be doing is you are going to be coming to the SFREP website and just click up here where it says free demo. That's going to download the program to your desktop, or please save it to your desktop. That way it's easy to find. And then once you have that, just double click it to run the install. Once the install is done, double click the Appraise-It Pro icon to go ahead and start the program. And then it will prompt you for registering and you will click on demo. Other than that, all that's the same. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and kind of get the rundown and get started with Appraise-It Pro. So this is my desktop here. I'm going to go ahead and double click on Appraise-It Pro up here. Now you're not going to see the splash screen. That is going to happen on my other monitor, but Appraise-It Pro will launch here in a second. Appraise-It Pro is the only 64-bit software on the market right now. What that means is that on a modern computer where you have 16, 32 gigs of RAM, Appraise-It Pro is able to leverage all of those resources that you have available to you instead of a program like ACI or Alamode or Bradford that are 32-bit programs. They can only address about 3 gigs of memory. So if you make really big reports, if you load your reports up with 100-page PDFs with lots of photos and stuff, we don't have to swap out to the hard drive. We can just use that extra memory that you have in your system, and we can use those extra resources as well. And that's not a resource hog, and it's not going to use up all of your RAM, but it's able to leverage that extra capacity that your computer has to give you a much more stable and especially much more fast experience. Now, when you first run Appraise-It Pro, you are going to be in an area that is called the backstage. If you use Microsoft Office or a number of other Windows programs, this will be very familiar to you. Okay. Now, I don't like to call it the backstage. I more like to call it the super file menu, kind of, because that's kind of what it is. If I use this little arrow here to jump back over to the editing area in Appraise-It Pro, which I don't have a report open right now, so it's just blank. In order to get back to that backstage area, I click on the file menu, and you'll notice that the file menu has a black background to kind of separate it out from the rest of the menu selections. And when I click on that, it bumps me back over here. And everything that is in here is generally what would be found in the file menu of an older style program. So that's why I call it Super File Menu. When you first start Appraise-It, you're going to be in this area, Welcome. And what this is just a way for us to communicate with you guys without having to send out an email or having you call in or something like that. We don't update it too terribly often, but we'll update it with major things. You can see right here the last time we updated it was about the ACI outage, because that's actually somewhat affecting our customers as well, because ACI made a lot of back-end portal software. And any AMCs or lenders that were using that back-end portal software, if any software, anybody who uses any type of software, even if it's not ACI, they may have tried to upload a Mismo XML to that portal using that ACI back-end software. It's not going to work. It's going to throw up errors. So it's affecting not just ACI customers, it's mostly affecting you guys, but it's also affecting other customers as well. That's why we put that in there. Now, we generally are not going to, or we're never going to put GIFs, videos, images, anything like that in here, just for text and just for you to kind of have some information here. It's not going to be very intrusive or anything like that. Next, we are going to go to New. This is where you guys are probably going to start a report file for the next little while until you build up your templates and your old reports and things like that. Over here on the left-hand side in this larger box, we have all of the different major form types that are available to start a report from. And if you just double click on one of these, it's going to just simply open up a default blank template. And if I have this little checkbox down here checked, which it is checked by default, it is going to open up a blank template with some additional addenda in there that you're probably going to end up using. So things like sketch addenda, mapping addenda, some photo addenda, some extra comps, things like that are going to be added in there. And then you can, from there, decide whether you want to remove or add some stuff and make it, the type of report that you want. Now, of course, once you've done that once, you're probably going to want to save it as a template. And that's very simple. And I'll show you how that works here in a little while. But essentially what you do is a template is nothing, in Appraise-It Pro, a template is nothing more than a regular report file that has been promoted to template status. Okay, so you can open up a blank default template, pre-fill out stuff, add some images, add some seals, whatever you need to do to it, add some verbiage, and then you go to File, or you go up to the home menu, do Save, and instead of saving it as a report file, you're just going to select Save as Template, and then it shows up here. Now, I've created some templates here based on the city that the report is in. You can do that, or you can do it by zip code. You can do it by lender, whatever reason you want to create a template, you just give it a name, and that way you can discern which one it is. And if you don't like a template, if you don't want a template, you just click on the little trash can icon, say yes, and it's gone. All right. Each one of these report types is going to have its own set of templates available to it. Now, these are all grouped into categories. Frequently used is probably where you're going to stay most of the time. And so as you use more and more of these, your most frequently used ones will show up here. But we also have the categories for UAD reports, GSE, desktop, and hybrid forms, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Of course, there's going to be a lot of overlap in those two. We have non-lender forms. We have condominium forms, tons of different forms. So many so that you're probably not going to want to go through here and try to find them. So what you can do is just do a search for them. So if I type in 2055, I don't even have to enter. It's going to do an auto search for me. And it's going to show me all of the 2055 reports here. And then if I want to open one, I just double click on it. And of course, the same report can show up in different or multiple categories. So for instance, the Fannie Mae 2055 is going to show up here under frequently used, under UAD, under Fannie Mae. It also shows up under Freddie Mac. We have a non-lender version. And we have these legacy forms. These are these pre-2005 reports. We keep them in there for backwards compatibility, and some appraisers still use them for non-lender work here and there. So they're in there as well. If I was looking for, say, a condo form, I can just type in condo here. Now it's going to show me all the different condo forms, and there's the primary condo form right there. And if I want to see everything again, I'm just going to click on the X, and now I'm seeing everything. And if, let's say, you never do non-lender work, or let's say you never do manufactured housing work, so you can just click on this little caret here, and it'll collapse that. So you can collapse these and just show what you generally use, or you can use the search. I tend to like the search a little bit better, but it depends on how you like to do things. And if you have a template that you want to open up over here on the right hand side, just double click on it. It's going to open it up. You can also single click and then click on create report, but that's redundant. It does the same thing if you just double click it. Moving on to open, you're probably not going to use open all that much. If you do use it, it's probably going to be for these recent report lists. So if you've done a report in the last, 5 days, week and a half, and you want to go back to it, you don't want to go and search, you know what you're looking for. You can just come in here to open, and it'll show you the last 20 or so reports that you've opened up. You just find it in the list, double click on it, and then boom, you're done. Over here on the left-hand side, we have the report section. Probably not going to use this very often. You can open a Appraise-It Pro report. You probably would only do that if someone sent you, like a colleague or a friend sent you a report, and then you wanted to open it up. You may also use this open MISMO document. That is, Appraise-It Pro will basically open any MISMO XML document created in any software and then treat it like a regular Appraise-It Pro file. It's kind of nice. However, you're probably not going to use this unless someone sends one to you and you save it to your desktop to open it up. Because if you have a bunch of MISMO XML files from ACI, we can copy all of those into a subfolder for Appraise-It Pro. And then Appraise-It Pro will basically automatically index all of that, hoover out all the data on it, put it into our databases, and then treat it like a regular Appraise-It Pro file. So you'll probably end up searching for that instead of just opening it up. And then under here, open template, open classic skeleton, you're generally not going to use those at all. Those are mostly for people who are moving over from our older software, Appraise-It Classic, over to Appraise-It Pro. We rewrote from the ground up our Appraise-It software suite back before the pandemic, and it came out right as the pandemic was starting around 2019, late 2019. So steadily, our current customers have been upgrading to Appraise-It Pro, but we do still have some stragglers that are still using Appraise-It Classic. So that's why this is here. Search. This is how you're going to find an older report. or you're going to search through your MISMO XML files from ACI once they get added into our database. Now, the search is what's called an exclusionary search. So the more information that you provide in these little search boxes, the more targeted and narrowed your search results are going to be. So if I just did a search for Charlotte, for city, then it's going to show me every report that I've done in Charlotte. But if I then add a partial street number or street address, that's going to narrow significantly down my results. Maybe I can also put the borrower name or a partial name in there, maybe a zip code. It's going to keep narrowing down your results. Now, I don't use this computer to do appraisal reports. I use it for testing and demoing, so I don't have this gigantic database full of 1,000 report files. So when I just do a blank search here, it's just going to show everything that's in my database, which is like 6 files. So we'll pretend that I've done a targeted search and I returned back 6 files. Now, if I click on one of those files, over here on the right-hand side, it's going to give me a front view photo. It's also going to give me some key information about that particular report to make sure that this is the one I'm looking for. So if it is, I can simply double click on it and it will open it up. I can also come down here and I can import forms and addenda from that report, and I can also import the comps from that report. And we'll go over that here in a little while later. I can also open up the work file for that report. I can also open up the work file when I have the report open from the home menu. And in Appraise-It Pro, what the work file is it's just a folder. So you see it right here that is associated with that particular report. And into that folder, I can dump whatever I want. I can put in extra photos. I can put in some PDFs, things that I maybe didn't use in the report, but I still want to keep a hold of them and associate them with this report. I can just dump them into this folder here. And then, of course, if I want to open something up, I can either click on Open Report if I have it selected, or I can just simply double click on it. And if I want to clear everything out and start a brand new search, I just click on Clear and I can start my search. Now, this up here is completely customizable. And the way that's going to work is I can come up here. If I say, and by the way, I do see you guys chatting in there. I'm going to get to you here in just a minute. Let's say I am only licensed in North Carolina, so I'm never going to be searching by state. So I can either do one of two things. I can pull this down and select a different search category for this particular line, or I can get rid of it altogether by hitting the little trash can icon. But let's say later on I become licensed in South Carolina. That's very common here in the Charlotte area because we're right on the border. So if I become licensed in South Carolina, I need to search by state again. So I can come up here to add field, pull this down, find state again, and select it. And now it's added state in. But now it's kind of orphaned over here on the end of the listing. And I like to have it over here after city. So I can use these little arrow keys to move it up in the list until it's after city where it belongs. So all this is completely customizable. Finally, settings. This is where you can come in, customize Appraise-It Pro to your heart's content. If you like to tinker, come in here and knock yourself out. However, you may want to wait until there is, you may want to write whatever you change down, like on a Post-it note or something. That way, if you change something and you don't like its behavior, you know exactly where to come back and change it. If you are a little bit computer shy, not really great with computers, things like that make you nervous, then you can come in here. I would only say come in here if you have one of our support people online with you, okay? Okay, so the light keeps changing because it was raining all day yesterday. It was really dark, and now everything's kind of moving away. So let's see. Sporty Spice. Sorry to embarrass you, but I have a lot of people whose kids, they're using they're using their computer, and their kids they're like already on their kids' YouTube account. And so there's been some funny things that I've seen come up in here. But anyway, how can I add a blank photo page to upload a copy of my E&O or any other document I need to add from a PDF file? I'll show you that here in just a second. We're getting ready to get to that. Real easy. And you can either do it as an image or you can do it as a PDF. How can I change the font of the entire report? Also, we're going to go over that here in just a second. Okay. Okay, so we are going to move over to actually looking at a report, okay? So to do that, we are going to go back over here to New, and I'm just going to open up a default 1004. So we're going to select 1004, we're going to select the default template, If we were just going from one to another, I could just double click on it. But because we have some templates over here, I'm going to double click on default template. And there we go. So this is the editing area of Appraise-It Pro. This is the business end of Appraise-It Pro. It probably looks very familiar because all of the appraisal software kind of looks familiar and the same at this point, because they're all what are called WYSIWYG programs. And that stands for what you see is what you get. WYSIWYG. Okay. So this is just a graphical representation of an actual report. And to fill it out, you just type into the fields just like you would in any other program. However, we have a set of panels, 1, 2, 3, 4, report, validator, responses, and format that are going to help you out in accomplishing this. All right. So the first one we're going to go over here is the report. Now this is, I'm not very, very familiar with ACI. I've seen it before, but I've not really played with it that much and used it. But I know that there is something very similar to this in ACI. This is basically your table of contents for the report. So it's very important for you to keep this, what I like to call nice and tidy, to keep it clean. Okay. So if you're not going to be filling a certain addenda out, it should not be in the report. All right. Now, the reason for that is so that if you come back to this report a year from now, or 6 months from now, or a month from now, you will instantly be able to look at this report panel and know exactly what was in your report. And you'll know in what order it was all in, and you'll know exactly what you sent to your lender. Now, if you want to know exactly what you sent to your lender, all you have to do is come over here to orders and click on create Mismo XML. And anything that is checked in here is what was sent to your lender or AMC. But for now, we want to keep this nice and tidy. All right. So first of all, we're doing, let's say, a report on a house that is on top of a mountain or a big hill. So flooding is not going to be a concern. So we're not going to be using a flood map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on flood map. I'm going to click on remove. I'm going to say yes, and it's gone. Now, if we want to put that flood map back in, I come up here to add, and then this add remove forms window comes up. And I already have it under frequently used, but if I didn't, I could just type in for search flood. Here are all the things that reference flood. There's my flood map. If I double click on it here, it is going to put it into the report. This right here is just a reproduction of what's over here. But what I can also do is simply click and I can drag it over. So if I want to put it back after the location map, I'll just click and drag it over there. There it is. Hit save and close, and now it's in there. So there it is. Real easy to do that. Now, if you need to reorder this, let's say you, for whatever reason, you like to put the location map at the beginning of the appraisal report, I can click on location and click and drag it up here. So clicking and holding and then dragging it up to the top, and now I can move things around in here. Now you may have noticed that some of these have icons next to them. There's the star icon, the padlock icon, and the plus icon. The star icon denotes what the primary form of the report is, and that cannot be removed. However, you can come in here to add, select primary, and then search for your primary form. So we'll do condo here. So there it is. There's the 1073 Fannie Mae form. Now, if I click and drag this over, I'm not going to do it right now, but if I click and I drag this over, it will replace the 1004 in the report. I hit save and close, and it will convert this report from a 1004 into a condo form. 1073, I think it was. It will, and it's going to replace the condo, or excuse me, it's going to replace the 1004, and everything that was in the 1004, if it has a spot in the condo form, will be brought over automatically. So it's a really easy way for you to convert your reports from one type to another. The padlock icon, these are addenda that are required for the operation of Appraise-It Pro. Not required for you, but they're required for us. So extended comments, report profile, UAD, comps adjustments, those have to stay in the report no matter what. Now, you don't have to deliver them. So when you come over here to orders and you're ready to create a Mismo XML, if you don't want the report profile in there, you can just uncheck it and it won't be delivered. But it still has to be in the report, so just keep that in mind. And then finally, the green plus, which strangely matches the ad. Well, you can probably figure out what it does. If I click on the green plus on sales comps 4 through 6, it's going to add comps 7 through 9 along with the photo pages for comps 7 through 9. If I click the plus again, now it's going to add comps 10 through 12, and you get the idea. And then the final thing that's up here is rename. Now, not all of these can be renamed, but any of the general addenda can be renamed. So a good example of this would be down here, general photos. This means the 6 per page legal. So if I open that up, and by the way, when I open that up, notice it opens up as a tab. And this works just like Chrome or Edge, any of your favorite browsers. That's how these work. So right now I have the general photos open, but I can also go back and look at my main body of the report. This is great because it's going to kind of separate out all the addenda. That way you're not endlessly scrolling through your report trying to find something. And then if I don't need it anymore, I can just close it. That's not going to remove it from the report. It's just I'm not viewing it anymore. Just like if you close a web browser tab, you're not removing that site from the internet. You're just not looking at it anymore. So I'm going to come back here, double click on it. You'll notice this says general photos 6/legal. That means these are 6 photos per page and it is legal size when it's printed out. But I want to rename that because that's very cryptic. So I'm going to rename this and I'm going to call it PHOTOS. There we go. I'm going to call it garage photos. And then I'm going to just put on here 6/legal. That way I know that it's a 6 per page legal, but this contains the garage photos. I'm going to hit OK. And now it's listed as garage photos 6/legal. You do not have to put the 6/legal. I'm just putting that in there so for my own knowledge. And now if I come back to this a month later, I know exactly what's in there. I don't have to open the general photos up to see what I had in there. I know those are the garage photos. All right. Moving on. Now, you may have noticed that I was able to resize these panels. They're completely customizable. So I can resize them that way. I can resize them this way. I can also click and drag them out. That way I could put them on a separate monitor if I wanted to. I could also drag them back over here, use this little wheel here, and I can put it as a tab. So now I can have the validator and the report as little tabs over here. You could take all of them and put them in tabs. Do whatever you want to do. Now, invariably, when you're messing around with this, you're going to do something like this by accident. Uh-oh, I've just made a whole mess of this. Don't freak out. Come up here to View. Select Reset to Default. Say yes. It's going to put everything back the way it was, and now you can go back and fix it. All right? Now, the validator panel. There's 2 types of validation that are happening. There's the real-time validation, which is happening all the time. It's just checking you as you go along. And then there's the comprehensive validation. The comprehensive validation you will invoke by clicking on this little button here that says Validate. Only do that when you're done with the report. I'm not going to do it right now because the whole thing's going to freak out. Everything's going to turn red because it's going to be like, hey, you haven't filled out anything in the report. Well, duh, I know. So I'm not going to hit the Validate right now. Do it when you're done with the report or you're near done. And there are 2 rule sets that it's going to be doing checking on. UCDP is the regular UAD, and then there's also FHA for FHA reports. They're mostly the same. There's a few key differences. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head right now, but they're not a lot. But it will remember this rule set from one report to another. So make sure that you come in here and you adjust this for the correct type of report that you're doing each time. Now, the real-time validation that's going on, the kind of the easiest way to see that at work is up here in the state field. If I type in NC and I tab out, nothing happens. It's happy with that. We're kosher. Everything's just going to move along. If I've got a fat finger and I type in BC and tab out, now it's going to turn red because BC is a Canadian province. It's not a U.S. state, so I can't use it. And of course, B is right next to N, so you can see I've done BC I don't know how many times instead of NC. Now, if I happen to be down here in the grid and I just noticed, oh, wait a minute, I've got a red stop sign over here. What's going on? It's going to say hard stop state. If I select it, it's going to tell me what I did wrong and how to fix it. And then if I double click on that, it's going to jump back to the state field and I can make my change. NC, tab out, and now it's happy. And this is going to check you all throughout the report. It's going to check your prerequisites. And the big thing is when we get over here to format, you'll see that it will kick in if you use the wrong formatting, but we'll get there in just a minute. Now, up here on the upper right are responses. And I know you had responses in ACI. The way that we implement it also takes cues from the way that we implemented responses in our old software, Appraise-It Classic, what we now call Appraise-It Classic. We used to let users have the F keys up at the top on the function bar of the keyboard. You could assign a commonly used response for that. So in this field, I'm in the city field. I've got a couple of cities in and around the Charlotte area here. And some of these I've assigned an F key to them, so I could just hit F4 and it'll fill it out for me. Or I can come up here and just simply double click it to fill it out. I can also hit F2 and stay on the keyboard and not have to use my mouse and just select it from a list. Or, and this is my favorite way, we have autocomplete. So I can just do CH, it's going to know I mean Charlotte, and I can just tab out. So you can see that if you set up these responses for all of these fields with just 1 or 2 keystrokes and then a tab, you can fill out, you can burn right through this first part of the report. Now that'll come later. You know, you're just starting out, so you're probably going to be just coming over here and double clicking on it, but that's how you'd work them. Now, let's say I put in here Gastonia. Do I have anybody from the North Carolina, South Carolina area? You'll probably recognize some of these cities. These are all suburbs of Charlotte. Gastonia, suburb. I want to put it in here. So I just type it out, come up here to manage responses. And there it is. Now I could, if I wanted to, I could give it a title, but you really don't have to give it a title unless you are doing a response that's like a couple of paragraphs or maybe a couple of sentences and for one of these multi-line fields. But for one or 2 words, it'll just display those 2 words. You don't have to worry about it. So I'm not going to give it a title. I could, however, if I wanted to, assign it an F key if I want. I'm not going to be doing too many appraisals in Gastonia, so I'm not going to assign it to an F key. I just want to go ahead and put it in there. I'm going to click on save, close, and there it is. So now if I come in here, I can just do G, it'll fill in Gastonia, and I can tab out. There is actually a 5th panel that's kind of hidden, and it's right here. It's tabbed with the responses panel, and that's help. So if you have somebody you have a trainee that you brought on, or somebody that's new to doing appraisals, or you brought on an employee that's helping you type things out, the help can be helpful for them. It's not going to be very helpful for those of you who are old timers at this, because you know what all of these fields are for. But we do have help text written up for every single one of these fields. And then finally, we have the format panel. Now, you may have seen what just happened there, but if you didn't, I'm going to show you right now. When you are in a field that is not regulated by some type of formatting, then this format panel is just going to show you a color key. So you can see inactive field is light blue, darker blue is an extended comment field, and then the green fields are formatted text. Now, these extended comment fields do exactly what you think they do. As I keep typing in here, it is going to, first it's going to shrink down the text automatically, so I can squeeze a couple more words up to a sentence in there, depending on how long the field is. But then when I reach a limit, it's going to automatically grab the last sentence, and then it's going to open up a split screen here that will open up a word processing addenda where I can do extended comments, and it's going to copy whatever my last sentence was and dump it into there, and I can keep going. The cool thing about the extended comments in Appraise-It Pro, they're fully word processing enabled, so I can use whatever font I want. I can add images, I can add tables, I can add colors, bold, whatever I want to do. Whatever you can do in Word, you can do in those extended comments. We also, by the way, have available word processing pages that are like this. So you just type in Word, and I've got word processing addendum and word processing addendum without headers that I can choose from, and I can use those as kind of a additional text addendum that I can do whatever I want in. You can even import a full word processing, like a Word document in there. Vince asks, can you have responses for multiple fields? Yes, it is a global response. So you do Control G to activate a global response, and then these responses are available for any field at any time in any report type. So they're just what they say. They're globally available to you at all times. But you do have to manually invoke them by doing Control G. And then here's a boilerplate one. I could use this. And if I hit transfer, it'll transfer into whatever field I'm currently in. Now, as I move into a regulated green field, meaning this is usually it's a UAD field, but it's any field that requires specific formatting. We'll do view. This now changes into like a little UAD helper. Now, we made a decision a long time ago when we were developing our first UAD system that we did not want to pop something up at you or overlay it over the report. We wanted to keep it out of your way. So we made it a little panel over here on the right-hand side. You can choose to use it or not. If you know the formatting correctly, you could say Cool view, bro. Type out. Okay, obviously that is not acceptable, so it's going to turn it red. All right, so I don't know what to use here, so I'm going to come over here. We'll do beneficial view. View type we'll say is a water view, and then we'll do a secondary one and say it's a park. Hit apply, and there it has the proper formatting. So this is available to you if you need it, but we do allow you to type directly into the field because we know a lot of you already know the proper formatting. You've been doing this for a very long time, so just type it directly into the field, and if you make a mistake on the formatting, we will let you know by turning the field red. Okay. Up here at the top is the menu bar. And this is a ribbon menu bar, very similar to what you would have in Microsoft Office. As a matter of fact, we use the same Microsoft development environment that they use to create Office. So it looks very similar to Office. We took a lot of design cues from Office as well. No need to reinvent the wheel. So if you've used Windows 10, Windows 11, you've used Microsoft Office, this will be very familiar to you. Under Home, we have all of your primary items. Under Edit, you can do things like clear the form, clear the extended comments, clear both. If you want to just wipe out the entire form and start over. Here, Sporty Spice, I'm sorry, I don't know what your name is. But here are your report fonts. So if you need to change the fonts in the report, that's how you do it right there. Just click on that, and then you can change your fonts. There it is. You can check your spelling throughout the report. Now, that'll also be done when you're doing the validation. You can also insert a PDF or insert a Word or OpenOffice document as well. Under View, this is where you go if you don't need the responses panel, you can tap it and it goes away, or you can bring it back. And then if you need to reset everything to default, that's where that is. You can also do a 2-page view. Now, you're not going to want to do this if you're on a 1080p monitor like me, but I have customers that I know have 65-inch 4K televisions bolted onto their wall in front of their desk, and that's what they use as a monitor. So if you're in 4K mode, then you could view both of these pages and they would be completely legible for you, especially if you're a little bit younger. So not going to want to do this if you're 1080p, but at least if you are on a 4K monitor, this could become very helpful for you. You can see more of the report at one time. You can also adjust the zoom level by coming down here to here, and I can zoom in if I want. Now, of course, there's always a trade-off. So if I zoom in, I can't see the whole report at one time, but at least my old eyes can see what's going on because I'm there with you guys. I have problems seeing myself. But we're going to do fit to width. I've got 27-inch monitors, and really Appraise-It Pro is meant to be run on a 22 or a 24-inch monitor at 1080p. That's what it's kind of designed for. But the bigger the monitor, the better. Mine's a 27-inch 1080p. I can see everything just fine. Services and tools are basically the same thing, except services are online-based tools, and then tools are offline-based tools. So under services, we have Build Facts, Market Analysis, which is an add-on that you can get for Appraise-It Pro to load. You can load information from your MLS in here and county records and things like that, and it'll process it and fill out your 1004MC for you. We have the Marshall and Swift Estimator, Appraiser Genie Cloud. We've got Get Census Tract. Pretty self-explanatory. Goes out to the government server and it'll grab the census tract or whatever address you have in here. Profit.ai, which is kind of a competitor to Datamaster and Spark. They all kind of do the same thing. I think Profit.ai, although it is newer and a lot of people don't know about it, does a really cool job of this. It grabs the information from county records and from the MLS, along with the photos and everything, allows you to pick your comps and your listings, and it gets you all the data and lets you reconcile it. Pretty cool interface. Everybody who has Appraise-It Pro gets 5 free lookups. After that, it is a add-on service. But we do integrate both with Spark and Datamaster. And then we have Street Maps, Flood Maps, which we'll go over here in a little while, and then Inspect Lot Connect, which is our mobile app that we co-developed with Bradford Software, and it's available on the iPad. Tools, Comp Manager, we're going to go over here in a little while. It does what it says, manages your comps. Image Manager helps you manage your images. So it's basically a graphical interface to be able to pull photos off of your camera or somewhere else on your computer. However, I will show this to you real quick. Let's pull this up real quick. The way that you guys are probably going to want to add photos for right now, just because it's a little bit easier to do and a little bit easier to figure out, is either browse it in or drag and drop. So if I double click here, here's house. I have it in my desktop. I could, navigate someplace else if I wanted to. but I'm going to double click on house and boom, pops the photo in there for me. I can also drag and drop from a folder on my computer, from the desktop, or from a lot of photo management programs. You can drag and drop, pop it right on in. Real simple. There's the photo right there on my desktop. Just pop it right on in. Sometimes, depending upon your PDF, you can pull up an old report you did in ACI as the PDF, and you'll be able to drag and drop the photos from the PDF directly into Appraise-It Pro. I think, I have to test this, but I think that like Adobe lets you do it. And I think that like Foxit PDF Reader and a couple other free PDF readers also let you do it. I'll have to test that a little bit. You can get to me on that, training at sfrep.com if you want to know, but you can train it. You can test it yourself. Okay, so going back here to tools, that's Image Manager, lenders and neighborhood databases, pretty easy to use. These are all automatically updated and kept for you. We also have adjustment sensitivity analysis. I have a whole video on this. It's a little complex of a concept, but once you see the video, I think most of you will get it. And if you want to watch that video, just do a search on YouTube for SFREP sensitivity analysis and you'll find the video. It's real simple. Also, we have Apex, Sketch-It, Sketch32. You're going to be using Sketch-It. I'm going to show you Sketch-It. That's what's built into Appraise-It Pro. You can also, if you had Apex with ACI, you can use Apex with us. Probably will require you to contact our tech support so that they can get that working for you correctly, because Apex may be a little bit confused on who it's supposed to be talking to, so we can fix that for you. But you most certainly can use Apex 7 or whatever Apex version you have with Appraise-It Pro. And then we'll show you Sketch-It. Don't worry about Sketch32. It's a very similar program to Sketch-It. I won't go into why we have both of those. It really is more about sausage being made and the history of our company. And we bought another company called WCA, and don't worry about it. You're not going to use the Sketch32. And then Script. Script is, excuse me, I've been talking a lot over the last 2 days. We have a very powerful scripting language built into Appraise-It Pro. I'm not going to go over it too in depth right now. We're just trying to get you guys started. But if you do have a programming background, you can contact me and I can kind of get you started. You can do really cool things with the scripting language. It's based on Lua. If you're a programmer, you'll probably know what Lua is. And you can do all sorts of cool things in Appraise-It Pro. And to my knowledge, we're the only software vendor that has that. Our tech support can also create scripts for you. So if there's something that you've always wanted Appraise-It Pro to do, there might be a way we can script it in there for you. Orders is where you're going to send orders. There's Create Mismo XML, which is what you're going to use most of the time. ACI Sky Export, you're probably not going to be using that right now. But what that is that, and it's weird naming thing that they did as ACI, because I think ACI Sky is also their web-based product, but ACI Sky is also what they call their back-end portal software. Anyway, that's what we mean here. Won't go into it because I don't think it's going to be something you're going to have to deal with, but it had ACI for some reason hard-coded their PDF scraping on their portals, so that when we updated our software and we updated and modernized our PDF creation, it broke compatibility. And they said they didn't have any programmers to be able to fix it for us. So we went around and around with them, and finally we just did our own workaround, which uses the PDF engine in Appraise-It Classic. Like I said, don't worry about it. You're probably not going to have to worry about this. We also, here's Appraisal Port. It's also the way that you would create an ENV file. And we, unlike other software vendors, do not charge you extra for creating a PDF, or excuse me, an ENV file. And then Total Connect is also supported. And then finally, we have support. This is where you can check for updates, send feedback. If you click the send feedback, it's going to pull up a web page here. And this is where you can give us tips or complain or give us kudos, whatever you want to do. This sends it to all the appropriate people. We also have a refer a friend program. So if you have somebody that comes over and becomes a customer, so if you have a fellow ICI person, you can score a free month of service. And there's no limit to the number of free months you can get. So if you bring over 50 people, you get 50 free months of service. And then over here is for tech support, knowledge base. When you click on this, it's going to open up support.sfrep.com. And here you can view what we call FAQ articles or tech support articles or whatever you want to call them. Let's say you wanted to learn about street maps. You can click on street maps. Appraise-It Pro Street Maps, and then here you have a video that will teach you how to use street maps, which we're going to view here in a little bit. And then you also have a text version of it with written instructions. So whether you learn better when someone shows you, or you learn better from reading, we got you covered on both ways. Chat is a way that you can contact our tech support, especially right now. They're very, very busy right now. So a way to get in touch with them a little bit quicker, especially if you just have a quick question, is to initiate a chat with them, because a tech support person can be on the phone and they can deal with 2 or 3 chats at the same time. So it's a way to get in touch with somebody. Also, feel free to email me, tech@sfrep.com. If it's just general questions, I can usually get you squared away. You can also email. When you click on that, it's going to pull up a little form here that you can fill out, and that'll email our tech support and somebody will get back to you. And then these two are our remote assistants. This is how they log into your computer with your permission, and then they can fix something for you. And then over here for the web, we have our website, our blog. We also have Facebook, Twitter, which is now X, so that'll be changing soon, and our YouTube page. We also have an Instagram that's not listed here. We're going to be putting that on there as well. So in order to do an appraisal report, you're going to need to fill out the report, which we've gone over how to build it and then fill it out. You're also going to need a location map. So we are going to go over that right now. Now, remember, if you have any questions, go ahead and get them in on the chat. Sporty Spice, you're going to have to tell me what your name is, so I don't have to keep calling you that. Sporty Spice asks, is there a way to cross-check a previously used comp by entering the address into the grid? Yes, and we will also check. And I'm going to go over that when we do our comp management software. But Appraise-It Pro is going to automatically do the quality check for you. So if you used that address previously and you gave it a different quality rating than what you're putting in there now, it will flag it down here in the validator. So I think that's where you're going with that question. But yes, if you enter an address in here, there will be a way when you go into the comp manager that you can see if you've used that before. And we'll go over that when we go over the comp manager. So the next thing I do want to go over with you guys is going to be our street mapping software. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play the video for you, just because it's easier, because I have to set a bunch of things up if I were to show it to you live. And in case you hadn't noticed, sometimes I tend to ramble. So for brevity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and show you this video, and we will get any questions that you have answered on the backside. Street Maps and Appraise-It Pro allow you to create accurate and colorful location maps showing the location of your subject, comps, and listings anywhere in the United States. It even lets you mark out neighborhood boundaries. In this video, we'll see how it works. Once you've entered all of the addresses you wish to map out into your report, go to the Services tab and select Street Maps. When the program launches, you'll be shown the addresses from your report in a table. Here you can make any changes you need to make to the addresses. Above the addresses, checkboxes allow you to choose which addresses to show on the map, as well as choose to only show the subject. You can also choose to label the sales comparables as either sales or comps. At the top, there's also a Preferences tab. Here you can set the label size on the map, choose to show the addresses as either info label balloons or simple arrows, set label options including showing the front view photo and the proximity to the subject, the assessor's parcel number, and the sale price, set label border options, label colors, and whether or not to transfer the address proximities to the comp and listing grids. Back over on the Addresses tab, click the Get Map button to geocode your addresses and place them on a map. If any addresses can't be found, a message will appear asking you to select the closest matching address. You can then manually move the address to its proper location. A location map with the proper dimensions for use on the location map page will then be shown. Here you can click and drag within the map to move it around, and either use the zoom slider in the upper right or your mouse's scroll wheel to adjust the map zoom. You can also click and drag a label and move it around so it doesn't overlap any other labels or important details on the map. If the geolocation on the label was slightly off, you can also click on the pointer and drag it to a different location. And finally, if you choose to delete a label from the map, just move the mouse over the label and click the X. If you chose arrow labels, you can click and drag them to a new location on the map, and move your mouse over them to rotate the arrow, and click X to delete. Above the map editing area, you can also switch the map view from Street View to Aerial View. In addition to allowing you to add more helpful additional map images to your report, this can also make it easier for you to adjust your label placement. Below, you can also add neighborhood boundaries. To draw the neighborhood boundaries, click on Create, and then click on a starting point on the map. Now, move your mouse to a new point and keep clicking to add new points to create a polygon whenever you need the line to change direction, for instance, to follow a road. Once you get the neighborhood mapped out, press Escape on your keyboard. If you mess up or decide you don't need the neighborhood shown, click Delete and then click inside the neighborhood. On the right, you'll see a thumbnail of the entire map as it will be shown on the location map page. Below that, you can use the pull down to select which form the map will be added to. If you need more general map pages, you can also click the green plus to add new ones to your report. Below this, you can type in a title for your map and choose to transfer the finished map to the report, to the clipboard so you can use it in a Word document, for example, or save it as a standard BMP, JPEG, or PNG image file. Once transferred to the report, the proximities will be added to the comp grid, and the map will be added to the map addendum. And that is it. If you need help or have any questions, email us at tech@sfrep.com or give our tech support a call 7 days a week at 800-644-4051. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for being an SFREP customer. Stephanie, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Spice Girls fan. It's one of the most underrated bands of the 90s. It really is. So, but I'm glad now I know what to call you. So thank you, Stephanie. Brent asked, is there a file management feature that will allow files to be marked as paid when they get paid? There used to be a file management component to the Appraise-It Pro suite, but it's been deprecated, meaning we don't sell it anymore. We are going to be redoing it, but we've got UAD 2.0 in the way right now, so that's really what all of our focus is right now. But it will be coming. In the meantime, I would probably recommend something like ANow. There's some others out there. Honestly, I used to own a art gallery in downtown Asheville, North Carolina, and we used QuickBooks, and it worked really well. And matter of fact, our company uses QuickBooks for our payroll. So QuickBooks has a web-based version. It's really easy to use. You can accept credit cards. It's great. I would look into it. But also ANow, you can do something like that with it right now. I wish we did have something, and it is coming, but I don't have it right now. Any other questions, make sure, go ahead and put them into the chat, or you can email them, especially if you are watching this video after the fact, training at sfrep.com or Matt, M-A-T-T, at sfrep.com. They both go to the same place. Okay, the next thing we're going to be going over will be the flood maps. Now, the flood maps, unlike street maps are free and unlimited. The flood maps are not, and they cost us money, so we resell them to you at a slight markup. I think if you buy them in bulk, you pay like 50 to 75 cents per map lookup. It's not a lot. And plus, in the flood maps, you're not just going to get the flood map, you're going to get a bunch of data from that as well. So you can buy them in packs. The more that you buy, obviously, the more you get. Now, you are going to be spotted some for your 6 months free promo that you're on. But they, if you need more, you just call our sales office or email them, and then they can add them to your account for you. So without further ado, let's check that out. Once again, if you have any questions, we'll catch them on the back side of the video. Appraise-It Pro Flood Maps is an add-on to the Appraise-It Pro subscription plan that allows you to create great-looking, industry-standard flood maps and fill out additional data about your subject. In this video, we'll see how it all works. The only piece of information in your report that's required to use flood maps is the subject address. So once you have this entered into your report, go to the Services tab and click Flood Maps. Once Flood Maps launches, your subject address will be loaded in on the right, and it'll be ready to be geocoded. If you wish to enter your own longitude and latitude manually, you can check this box and then enter the decimal format below. If you've already added a location map to your report, your subject's coordinates will be entered here automatically. When you're ready, click Get Map or Geocode Address. If an exact address or parcel is found, only one address will be shown in the list on the right. If an exact address is not found, a list of nearby or more generic addresses will be shown. Click on the closest match as you'll be able to fine-tune the address location in the next step. Down below, you can click Back to go back in the process. The number of lookups you have left on your account will also be shown, as well as the flood map service expiration date. When you're ready, click Get Map. A location map will now be shown with an arrow pointing to your subject location. Occasionally, especially in mountainous locations, this spotting can be a little off. If you need to move the location of the subject, click and drag the arrow to the proper location. You can also rotate the arrow by moving your mouse over it and clicking on the circular arrow icon and spinning it around. If you need to adjust the zoom level of the map, use the slider in the upper right. Below the slider, you can also choose whether you want to use road map or aerial imagery. Aerial imagery can be very helpful in allowing you to spot your arrow directly on a building. Even if you don't plan on using an aerial map, temporarily switching over for arrow placement can often be helpful. It's very important that anytime you change the preview map in any way, including switching map types, you click the Update Map button. This will ensure the proper data and location is gathered from your changes. You will not be charged for a map lookup at this point. Once you have the arrow and zoom level set where you want it, click the Get Flood Data button. You will now be docked one map lookup and the flood data will be shown. Here you can rotate the arrow around if needed to ensure it's not covering up anything important, but you cannot respot it. If you need to move where it's pointing, click the back button to go back to the previous step. Just be aware that you'll be charged another map lookup because a map is deducted anytime you get new map data. On the map, you can use the scroll wheel on your mouse or the scroll bars on the right side of the screen to see the bottom portion of the map and data if it's not visible on the screen. On the right, there are a series of checkboxes showing the additional data on the subject that will be added to your report. This will replace any data already in the report, so if you wish to preserve data you previously entered, make sure you uncheck its box. Below that are two option checkboxes. The first removes any extra zeros from the census tract. The second will transfer the community number if available, along with the panel number. Both of these options are checked by default. The Edit button, new to the Appraise-It Pro version of flood maps, lets you edit any information that you may think is in error before it's transferred to the report. This also corrects it on the flood map image. It probably goes without saying, but please be absolutely sure the information you're entering is correct, as it's a pretty rare occurrence for the flood data to be off. In the map image, any edited values are noted with an asterisk and text that indicates that the values have been edited. Here you can also change the label type from arrow to info balloon, change the size and color of the label, and the contents of the info balloon. You can also toggle whether the front view photo will be shown if it's already in the report. When you're done making your edits, click Save to go back to the main map panel. When you're ready, you can choose to copy the map image to the clipboard so you can use it in a Word document, for example. Save it as a standard BMP, JPEG, or PNG image file, or transfer the finished map to the report. Once transferred to the report, the data on the subject will be added to the main report, and the map image will be added to the flood map addendum. Remember, once you've closed out of flood maps, any changes you need to make to the flood map will require re-downloading the flood data and thus incur another map use. And that's it. If you need help or have any questions, email us at tech@sfrep.com or give our tech support a call 7 days a week at 800-644-4051. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for being an SFREP customer. Now, I know that I am throwing a lot at you guys right now, and I'm kind of running through it so that we're not here for 2 hours. But remember that you can always rewind this video and watch something again. It'll also be in your watch history on YouTube if you know how to go there and re-find it. Or you can just use the link that was emailed to you, and you can always go back and rewatch parts of this, skip ahead, fast forward, rewind, okay? Now, if you're doing that and you have a question that you want answered, that comes up, remember, you can always just email me at training@sfrep.com. And you can use tech@sfrep.com to get in touch with our tech support. Just remember, they're a little bit backed up right now and probably will be for the next few days. I, however, am not as backed up as they are, although I am super busy. I've got a lot of emails that I have to reply to, but I'm not quite as busy as they are. So if it's something that doesn't require some specific help, like logging your computer, just email me and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. But just be patient with our tech support and our customer service. They're 5-star Google rated. They're awesome. I love the team that we have here. I've been here for 18 years. Most people that are this company have been here for 5 or 10. We love working here. This company treats us really well. We love what we do. But we are definitely in uncharted, unprecedented times. So just be patient. We will get back to you as quickly as we can. But always remember, use that chat that is under support. So always remember, come over here to support, use this chat and use this email. You're going to get a reply a lot quicker that way. Or just feel free to, once again, email me, training@sfrep.com. Now, the next thing we're going to be going over is Comp Manager. This and the sketching program are the two longest that we're going to be doing. We're already at 1 hour and 10. I promise I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. When I say they're long, they're like one of them is 10 minutes long. Okay. So hang in there. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but this is part of getting you squared away so that the learning curve isn't quite as bad. And remember, you can always come back to this. By the way, I'm going to be redoing this same webinar at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So feel welcome to come back in there once you've played around with it. If you have some extra questions, you can come in there, ask them. I'll be happy to answer them for you, okay? And then I'm going to do another one of these tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. So keep an eye out in your email box for that, okay? All right. We'll catch you on the backside of this with any more questions that you guys may have. Remember, use that chat that's either over there on the right-hand side or it's down on the bottom, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, okay? Appraise-It Pro's Comp Manager, which is included in the Appraise-It subscription plan, allows you to easily archive and keep track of all of your subject, listing, and comp data, along with all the photos you've taken of each property. This is helpful when you want to use an address again or reference back to an address down the road to ensure consistency and accuracy. In this video, we'll go over how it all works. All of the addresses and photos you use in a report are automatically archived whenever you save a report. A scan for new info is also performed whenever you start up Appraise-It Pro. Because everything is automated, you don't have to worry about maintaining a database on your own or adding new records, though you can if you wish, and we'll go over that a little later. We'll start with a completely blank report to best show how adding address information and photos from the Comp Manager works. When you start Comp Manager by going to the Tools menu in Appraise-It Pro, you're presented with the search screen. This is a little different from other programs you may have used in the past as it uses a unique tile interface. Each tile is a search box that you can use to narrow down your search results more and more. You can choose to search on just one item or use multiple items to fine-tune your results. Note that some of these search tiles also have pull-down selectors, and some have option pull-downs that can modify the scope of the search for that tile. For instance, this one allows us to select contains this street name equals, begins with, and ends with. Others allow you to select ranges for numbers and date values, and yes or no for binary options. On the right are the search options. Here you can select either the comparable database, which is used by default, or CompLink. CompLink is a subscription product that allows you to pull in data from your local MLS. We cover this product in another video, so for more information, visit our website or search YouTube for CompLink. There are 2 checkboxes under the comparable database selection. Indexed Reports searches all of the addresses that have been gathered automatically from your previous reports. User Records also includes any records you have added manually. Some additional options below search options include the order in which to sort the results, how many results will be displayed on each page of address tiles, whether to include all matches for a given address or just the most recent, and whether to include results that are contained in the current report. In most cases, you will probably want to leave those last 2 checkboxes unchecked so you get clean and up-to-date search results. To show you how it all works, we're going to search for a street. in a specific city that is a ranch-style home. Notice how it autofills in as I type, similar to a web browser. When we've filled in the tiles that we want to search with, we'll click View Results. The search gives us two results shown as a series of tiles arranged in a grid. By default, 24 tiles will be shown per page, as this best fits a standard 1080p monitor, but this can be changed back on the search screen. You can switch between multiple pages by using arrows that will show up at the bottom if multiple pages of results exist. Each address tile displays a front view photo if available, a street address, and some key information about the property also if available. A UAD tag will also be shown if the data for that address is in proper UAD format. The first is blue because it's the tile that we currently have selected. The second one is the one we're looking for, and it's colored green because it's not currently selected. A few icons are also shown in each tile. The Photos icon allows you to see all of the pictures associated with that address and, if desired, delete them or reassign their view label. You can also drag and drop specific photos over to the transfer panel. For instance, you can drag photos into the general photos pages in this way. When you drag them over, you'll also have the option to relabel the photo by typing in a custom label and pressing the plus sign to save it for future use, or you can use the pull-down menu to select a label from the list. You can also delete a label from the list by selecting it and pressing the minus button. The Details button shows you all of the information stored in the database about this address and allows you to add or edit notes about the property. So this is the address that we want to use in our report, so we're going to simply click and drag the tile into the space on the right for Comp 1. If we wanted to put the data tile someplace else, we could use this pull-down menu to select a different comp or listing page. To add a new comp or listing page to your report, just select the type of page that you want to add and then click the green plus button. We can also do another search and repeat this process for other comps or listings by clicking the Back to Search button in the lower right. Below the transfer pane, we have a few options. Under Selection, we can choose what data is transferred into the report. By default, the front view photo and the address data will be transferred, but we can also choose to only transfer the front view photo or only the data without the photo. For now, we're ready to add this data tile into the report. To do this, we click Transfer to Report. The Search Addresses in Report button allows you to search the comp database for the addresses you have already entered in Appraise-It Pro for the subject, comps, and listings. This can be useful if you have manually entered photos and data into Comp Manager previously and wish to recall them all at once by searching the addresses already in the report. When you click it, Comp Manager will look at all the addresses in your currently open Appraise-It Pro report and use these addresses to search the database for matches. Then you can just drag the address tiles you choose onto the corresponding spot to the right and add the data to your report. Search schemes allow you to save your search tile setup so you can easily and quickly recall it later to conduct a same or similar search. In addition, schemes will also save information and selections you have pre-filled in the search tiles. To set up to save a search scheme, remove any tiles you wish to not be included by clicking the X in the upper right corner of the tile. To add a tile, select it from the pull-down menu to the right under Parameters, then click Add Item. You can also pre-fill any of the tiles with search data. To create a search scheme, click the Save As button under Scheme on the right side of the search pane. Give the search scheme a name and then click Save. To select a scheme for use, use the pull-down menu. To delete a scheme, select it and click the Delete button. You can also select a scheme and click on the Set Default button to use it by default every time you open up Comp Manager. Add Record opens up a whole new screen that allows you to manually add a new address to your database instead of just using addresses you previously entered into reports. This can be helpful if you go out into the field and gather lots of data and photos ahead of time to be used later. To add records to the database manually, fill out as many of these fields as you have data for. You can fill out as many or as few of the fields as you wish. There's no minimum amount other than adding a street address. Use these section tabs up top to access all of the fields that are kept track of by Comp Manager. The fields in green support UAD formatting with a UAD helper similar to the one found in Appraise-It Pro. You can also add photos and associate them with the address in the Photo tab. Just browse to the location which contains your photos. This can be a folder on your computer, a memory card, or a card reader, or even a camera plugged into your computer if it's supported, using the folder tree on the left. When you find a photo you wish to use, drag it from the preview pane in the middle to this area in the upper right corner. Each photo will be added to the tray on the right. You can then use this pull-down menu under the photo to associate it with a view, or type in your own custom view label. For instance, if you select front view, this photo will automatically be used for the address when transferring it into the report. If you wish to save custom view labels for later use, click the plus to the right. You can also select a view from the list and click the minus to remove it from the list of saved labels. There are also two checkboxes here in the lower right. Recycled Use Images sends any used images to the Windows recycling bin once they're added into the database, and the other shares saved photo descriptions with other users on a network. When you're done adding photos and filling out the data for your record, click Save. To edit a record, click on the Edit icon on its address tile. Keep in mind that automatically indexed records cannot be edited, so a copy of the address will be created for editing as a custom, manually entered record. Edit or add the new information, and then click Save. On the search results screen, Export to File allows you to export all of your search results to a file so it can be imported on another machine to make sharing data with colleagues easy. To export your own search results, conduct a search and find what you need. On the search results screen, click the Export to File button in the lower right, choose where to save the file, give it a name, and use the Save As Type pull-down to choose the format for the exported data. You will have two selections. Comp Manager Database will allow you to easily share all the data and photos in the search results with someone else using Appraise-It and Comp Manager. CSV, comma-separated value will save the data only, not the photos, in a more generic format that can be opened using a spreadsheet program like Excel or Google Sheets. The person you're sharing data with can import the exported Comp Manager search results by going to their Comp Manager search screen and clicking the Import Data button on the right. They will then want to select Exported Comp Manager Database and then browse in your file. All of the records you exported will then be added to their database, including all the photos. Back on the search screen, the Import Data button allows you to import data from older Appraise-It comp management programs like WinComp and Photograph-It Plus. Just select the source type of the data and then browse to the file you wish to import. This data will be added to your Comp Manager database. And that's it. If you need any help or have any questions, email us at tech@sfrep.com or give our tech support a call 7 days a week at 800-644-4051. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for being an SFREP customer. So I promise you, we're getting there. I know this is a lot that we're throwing at you. Remember, you can always rewind. Couple of questions, and look, I got bad eyes, so I'm having to read a very small little phone screen here, okay? So let me read these real quick. Arden asks, can the software be installed on more than one computer? Absolutely. You can install it on as many computers as you want. The way that we license Appraise-It Pro is that we license it to a signing appraiser. So if you got two signing appraisers and then you've got like some trainees or some people that are helping you fill out the reports, you don't have to pay for them. You just have to pay for one copy for each of the two signing appraisers. Then Appraise-It Pro can be installed on as many computers as you want in any type of network environment you want, anything like that. We don't charge extra for that. Let's see. General asks, if you have one comp that is the same as another comp, can we do an equal one, for example, so that the field copies over to the other comp. Yes, you can. As a matter of fact, ACI got that from us. So going back over here to Appraise-It Pro, I've got a sample report pulled up here. First of all, I can right click anywhere. This is, by the way, this is some more advanced stuff, but you guys ask, I'm going to give you, the skinny on it. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to take this comp number 2. I'm going to right click in there, and here's where I can actually cut, copy, paste, and swap comps. What I'm going to do here in this case is I'm going to clear the comp so that I have a little bit of space to work with. So let's say that the site is the same exact, well, let's do the view. Let's say the view is exactly the same as the subject. So I can do equal S, tab out, and it's going to copy over what was under the subject. Or if it wanted to do it for comp number 1, I could do equal 1, and it's going to copy it over there. Now, let's say that all of these are the same as the subject. I can do equal in any of them, hit tab, and it's going to copy it all the way across for all of them. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question for you. Ron asks, Ron Patton. My ex-brother-in-law was named Ron Patton. Interesting. What is your mapping fee? We do not have, so the street maps or location maps, those are free and unlimited. Use them as much as you want. The flood maps, we do give you a pack of flood maps. I forget what it is on the 6-month demo. But if you need more, just contact our sales office, either by email, sales@sfrep.com, or you can call them directly. But if you call them right now, they're once again, they're very busy. But you can call and leave a message. They'll call you back. I want to say it really depends on how many you buy, but it's anywhere from $50, $75 up to $1 per map, which on a $300 through $400 appraisal is not that big a deal. It's going to grab you the location map or the flood map, plus it's going to grab you a bunch of other data about the subject as well. So it's kind of worth it. But the more that you buy, the larger pack you buy, the more of a discount you get. So anywhere from $50 to $1. Okay, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to move on to the next one. The one you just watched was the longest. This is the second longest, and it's not that long. And this is going to be on our sketching software. Now, like I said, we do support Apex. So if you were using Apex with ACI, you can continue using it with Appraise-It Pro. But we also have a basic sketcher called Sketch-It that's actually built into Appraise-It Pro. And really, all sketching programs are very similar at this point. So I don't think you're going to have too much trouble picking it up. But here's a video on it, and we'll answer any questions that you have on the backside. Just get your questions in the chat.
Sketch-It is a basic professional sketch program included with Appraise-It Pro that can also be run independently. In this video, we'll see how it all works. When you start Sketch-It by going to the Tools tab in Appraise-It Pro, you'll be presented with a blank sketching area. Up top is the toolbar. Mousing over icons will give you a tooltip explaining what they do. You can also use the text menus, and there are hotkey combinations you can use that are listed next to the text menu selections. When you're ready to begin sketching, click the Page Plus icon on the lower toolbar to create a new sketching area. Think of an area as a floor, outbuilding, basement, or garage. Select the category for the area, in this case, living area, as we want to add to the gross living area. Next, for the area name, we're going to select first floor. Finally, we'll set post 2 as 1. Usually this will correspond with the floor that you're drawing. There's also B for basement and G for garage. This will set which line this area will post to in the square footage calculation addendum of the report. Next, select if this area will add to the total square footage or subtract. Choose the font for the labels, and select a fill-in pattern for the area. Under the Dimensions section, there are selections that determine if and when measurement labels will be added to the sketch for both exterior and interior walls. And finally, under Options, there are checkboxes for Print Calculation Detail and Included in Category Summary to show or not show measurement information on the sketch in the report. For this sketch, we're going to draw the outside walls of the first story of a 2-story house. Since everything here is already set up to do this, we'll just need to click Create. Notice the cursor has changed to a crosshair. While you can sketch with the mouse, it's much easier and more accurate to sketch with the keyboard. So we'll place the crosshair in the upper left corner of the page and begin sketching from the back left corner of the house. Press Enter to drop the pen. On the keyboard, we'll type out 50 and then hit the right arrow button to draw a 50-foot back wall to our house. Then hit Enter to lock in the line. We'll continue along the right side of the house. Now to the front. And here we have a bay window. For the bay window, we'll come down 5 feet, but we won't hit Enter to lock it in just yet. Instead, we'll now go over 5 feet to create a 45-degree angle. Hit Enter once again to lock it in. Now 10 across. Then we'll reverse the process to complete the window. Once we get to the last corner, we can use the Control-C key combo to auto-close the area. Since the area is a bit off-center, we can either press this icon button up top to center in the page, or we can go to the Layer menu and select Move to click and drag it to the top center, leaving us room to draw a second floor below. To draw our second floor, we'll click on the Page Plus icon up top again to bring up the Add Area dialog. This time, under Area Name, we're going to select Second Floor. Note how this automatically changes the post 2 number to 2. Now we'll click Create. Now, just as before, we'll draw the second floor of the house below the first on the same page. Sketch-It allows you to draw precise arcs with just a few keystrokes. We can draw an arc using one of 2 methods, by entering the chord length, arc height, and the direction, or by entering the arc angle and the direction. Of these 2 methods, we're going to cover the entering of the chord length and arc height since it's the easiest to measure in the field. To draw our arc, we'll need to know 2 key measurements. The chord is the straight line between the beginning of the arc and the end. And the arc height is the straight line between the center point of the chord and the peak of the arc. So to draw our curve, we'll first enter the length of the chord, and then the arrow key for the direction in which to draw. Next, we'll press Ctrl B. The Create Arc dialog box will appear. We'll ignore any angle data that may appear in the angle field, but we won't delete the value. Sketch-It will calculate a new angle once we enter the chord length and the arc height. Note that the chord length is the same as what we drew in the beginning. Now we'll enter the arc height and then click OK. The angle will be calculated and appear in the angle field, and the arc height value will default back to 0. Now we'll just click OK again, and Sketch-It will draw the arc. Hit Enter to lock it in. Since interior walls don't really add to or reduce the square footage of a structure, you don't need to create a new area for them. Instead, they are just associated with the area that you have selected up top. We'll use the pull-down to select the first floor. To draw the first floor interior walls, we go to the Create menu and select Lines. We can also use this icon on the toolbar. We now have a drawing crosshair. Just as when drawing exterior walls, there are a few ways you can draw interior walls. You can free draw them by clicking the mouse to drop the pen and move it around, clicking each time you get to a corner, or you can use the arrow keys. The best method, however, is probably once again using the keyboard to type in the measurements you took when inspecting the house. Move your mouse crosshair near a corner of the house and then press J on your keyboard. This will jump the cursor to the exact corner. Now, without dropping your pen, type in the measurement from the corner to where the first wall will begin. In this case, we'll make that 20 feet to the right by typing 20 and then pressing the right arrow. This will move the cursor 20 feet to the right along the back wall of the house. Since the room shares 2 walls with the outside of the house, we only need to draw the 2 interior walls. To drop the pen, press the Enter key once, then type in 10 and the down arrow to draw a 10-foot wall down towards the front of the house, and a single enter locks in the corner point. Next, 20 and then the left arrow key will draw a 20-foot wall, and a double enter will set the corner point and pick up the pin. We'll need a door to enter the room, so to add one, go to the Create menu and then select Icons. In the resulting pop-up window, go down the list and select Door. By default, the door will be 2.5 feet wide. Let's change it to 3 feet, then click OK. Now we can move the icon over the interior wall, then click to drop it. We can then select additional icons or just click cancel if we're done. Now we're ready to transfer the sketch. Before we do, let's take a moment to make sure everything is aligned by going to the area menu and selecting Move. Move each area so it's centered with the other. Don't worry about centering both on the page, we'll do that in a second. Once everything looks good, click the Center Sketch button on the toolbar to align the entire sketch into the center of the page. When we're ready to transfer the sketch to Appraise-It Pro, all we need to do is go to the File menu and select Save Sketch. We don't want to change the default file name because if we do, it will break the link between this sketch and this report if we try to edit the sketch in the future. So just click Save again. Now just close Sketch-It. We can view the sketch in Appraise-It Pro by clicking on the Sketch page in the report panel. Information is also transferred into the square footage addendum and into the relevant spots in the main report. If you need to make a change to the sketch at any time in the future, open the report in Appraise-It Pro, and then open Sketch-It from the Tools tab. You can then make any changes needed and save the sketch again to transfer the updates to the report. And that's it. If you need help or have any questions, email us at tech@sfrep.com or give our tech support a call 7 days a week at 800-644-4051. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for being an SFREP customer.
Oh, we have one more short video. This one's short, trust me. But this one's it's pretty important. This is going to be on searching and importing into Appraise-It Pro. So if you need to import some forms or some comparables from an existing report, this is how you do it. Outside of, if they're comps, you can just use the comp manager to do it. But if you want to grab a comp or a listing or something or an addenda out of an existing appraisal report, you can use this process. It's a pretty short video. We'll come back. We'll answer any questions that you guys may have, and we'll wrap things up. I really appreciate you guys hanging out, and here we go. Some of the most powerful features in Appraise-It Pro are the searching and importing of reports and comps. In this video, we'll go over how it all works. To access Report Search, go to the File menu to open the Backstage and select Search from the menu on the left. At the top, you have the Search Criteria section where you can type in search terms. The more items you search on, the more targeted your search results will be. For example, if I search for Charlotte in the city field, it will show all reports where Charlotte is listed as the subject city in the report. If I also fill in the zip code, it will further narrow down the search to just one in this case, the only report in my database that was performed in the 28226 zip code. Below the search form are the search results. These are displayed in a table kind of like Microsoft Excel. A front view photo for the currently selected address along with some key details are also displayed to the right. When you find the report you're looking for, you can open it by selecting it and then clicking Open Report, or by simply double-clicking on it in the results list. The search criteria fields are also customizable. You can remove one by clicking on the trash can icon to its right and move it up and down in the ranking by clicking on the arrows to its left. New items can also be added by using the pull-down menu for Add Field. There are two main ways you can import a report's forms or comps into an existing open report.
The first way is by using the search function in the file menu that we just went over. Search for a report with a target report already open in Appraise-It Pro. When you find the report you want to import from, right-click on the address in the results grid and click Import Forms or Import Comps, or use the buttons in the lower right. If you're importing forms or addenda, make the selection of what you wish to import into your currently opened report. Then, select whether you wish to overwrite repeatable forms like comp pages with the new data or add new repeatable forms to contain the incoming information. You can also choose whether to overwrite existing populated fields and use incoming extended comments. If you're importing comps, use the pull-down menu under Destination to select where you wish to place each comp. If you don't wish to import a given comp, select None. When you have made your selections, check whether you wish to overwrite existing comparables in your report with the imported data, and then click Import. The second way to import is done from within the open report. Simply go to the Home menu and select Import Forms or Import Comparables. The process is very similar as before, but there's no search functionality, so make sure you know which report you want to import from first. A third way to import comp and listing data is to use the Comp Manager app built into Appraise-It Pro. This program has its own video which you can watch using the link below in the video description. And that's it. If you need help or have any questions, email us at tech@sfrep.com or give our tech support a call 7 days a week at 800-644-4051. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for being an SFREP customer.
All right. I know you guys have been through a lot. It's been an hour and 40 minutes, but we're done. If you have any questions, get them in right now. Otherwise, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to email me directly, training@sfrep.com. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And I don't do tech support. I can't log into your computer or anything like that. So if it's something that you really need help with in that arena, you're going to want to email tech@sfrep.com, or you are going to want to call them directly, 800-644-4051. You can use any of the numbers that go to us. They all go to the same place. And they'll be happy to help you. Please be patient with them. They're very busy right now. We're trying to get back to everybody as quickly as we can. I'm even going to be jumping in on some of the phone calls to try to get them taken care of. But I'm also going to be doing a lot of emails. And if you guys come up with a question and you just, general questions that you want answered, feel free to email me, training@sfrep.com or matt@sfrep.com. They both go to the same place. I will be happy to answer any that you have. Remember, we're going to be doing another one of these at 7 p.m. tonight Eastern Time, and then tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to go back in, redo this, have some more questions, feel free to join us for one of those. You should have gotten an email that will give you the links to go to those. And remember that you can always use the link to go back and watch this video again, or right now you could just scroll back in the timeline and rewatch it, parts, or skip ahead, do whatever you want. And I'll be making one of these videos into a regular YouTube video that is going to be easily be shared, and you could mark and keep it for when you need to reference back to it. And remember, visit us on our YouTube, youtube.com/SFREP, real simple. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, we got one more question. Arden says, did I understand correctly that to enter a comp, you enter it into the comp manager, not the form? No, you can enter it into the form, and anything you have in the form is going to be put automatically into the comp manager. But you can also, and this dates back to a workflow that some of our older customers had with an older piece of software. They would go out into the field and do all of their comps at one time, and then bring all of that information back, and would want to put it into the comp management program so that they could call it up later, or so that their assistant could call it up. So you do have the ability to do that. You can enter comps directly into the comp manager for later use, but no, most people aren't going to do that, and you guys probably aren't going to do that. So no, just enter it directly into the form, and then when you save the form, it's automatically that information is going to be put into the comp manager for you. So hopefully that answers your question. Anybody else have any other questions before we cut you loose? All right. Well, school is now out of session. Thanks a lot, everybody. And once again, thank you for trying us out. We really appreciate it. And once again, we're really sorry for what you guys have had to go through, but hopefully we will make the process of moving over to us as painless and as fast as possible. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and a great weekend coming up. New Year's, don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly, drive safely, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.